Welcome to Kundalini Yoga. A really amazing set that I am so excited to share with you. Really beautiful book. I Am Woman, Creative and Sacred and Invincible, which were specific teachings for Kundalini Yoga teachings for women. And he had a very, it was thought, he had a very high regard for the women in the Kundalini community and of course around the world in their ability to recreate and repopulate. Good morning, Kristen. So yeah, we're going to do this set called Pitra Kriya. And this is a really beautiful, it's really straightforward, fairly simple, short Kriya. There's just 3 postures in it, but it is a profound and potent Kriya. In that, it's said to really work at digging into the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the energetic bodies. And of course, the mental bodies, there are 3. So you've got almost 8 of the 10 bodies covered through this Kriya. In Kundalini Yoga, there's 10 bodies, right? Not just our physical one. And so we are working with 7 or 8 of the bodies with this Kriya. And its idea and its purpose is to clear any residual stress, overwhelm, shock, or challenge from ultimately the psyche, the muscles, and the mind. So it's really profound and really powerful, even though we only have 3 postures. But you'll kind of feel the power of these postures, and I really like them. I'll share each one a little kind of story or kind of how I relate to it and why I quite like this Kriya. The other really beautiful thing about this Kriya is it's balancing all of the chakras. So even though we're not doing a ton of movement in the Kriya, we're going to balance and tone all of the chakras, the 7 within the body, the 8, as I mentioned before, the aura around the body. So pretty potent meditation for us. So we'll begin coming into a nice comfortable seat. And what I'd like to say as well is that once we begin, or even right now, all of the postures, we're going to do a warm-up, but all the postures are seated, and we hold them for a little bit of time. And so if you want to have one of the playlists from the virtual studio, you can dive into your phone or to your computer and grab that, and that might help you hold space a little bit. Otherwise, it can be pretty powerful to do it in silence as well and sit with your own body and your own thoughts and work through those blocks. So it's entirely up to you what you'd like to do. Okay? So make sure that you do have something comfortable to sit on so that you can elevate the hips and have the knees feel safe and the hips be free. And we are going to move around a little bit before we begin the Kriya though, so just find that seat for the moment. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. Close your eyes down. Start to drink in some nice long inhales. And let go of some really deep exhales. We have a little push to the hands so the elbows elevate in line with the wrists and you feel some firmness between the fingertips. Let your inner gaze roll up to your third eye, the space between your eyebrows. And we open our practice today with the Adi mantra, Om Namo Gurudev Namo, calling upon our own creative consciousness, our own inner teacher, that ability to transform darkness into light and invoke the sacredness of this space. As always, you can chant out loud internally or bask in the intention of the mantra and the energy. So let's inhale to chant. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Deep breath in. Suspend the breath just for a moment if you're not pregnant or no blood pressure issues. And then exhale softly. Keep the hands together at the heart. Take a moment, long deep breathing, maybe offering a prayer or making an intention for your practice. It's up to you. And then let's flutter the eyes open. Bring the hands onto the knees. We'll start with some Sufi grinds. So as you inhale, you're going to push your hips forward, move the torso to the front of the room, and as you exhale, roll back onto the pelvis and go behind you through the heart. So you inhale forward and exhale back, and then once you've got that rhythm, just close your eyes and move in sync with your breath. Making nice big circles through the pelvis. And just creating a little space and through the hips and the hip joints. Bringing a little awareness and attention to the belly and the core, really churning from that place as well, opening up through the digestive organs. And let's take our circles in the opposite direction. Your head, chin stays parallel to the floor. Let's see if you can get the last few circles really big. And then come back to center, take a deep breath in, and exhale. Let the eyes open. We'll find our way into table pose. So on the hands and knees. Feel free to use your fists or your forearms if you need to keep your wrists healthy and safe. As you inhale, drop your belly down, lift your heart up, cat-cows. As you exhale, round your back, push into the mat. So inhale, soften down, heart up. Exhale, pulling in. And then make the breath just a little bit more powerful so that we can get really into all the little nooks and crannies of the spine. Start to wake up the lungs and the heart. Nice invigorating and energizing breath to start with as well. Help settle and secure the mind into the posture, the movement, the moment. going. Just a few more seconds. And then next time you breathe in, lift your chest, lift your heart, lift your eyes, look up, inhale and hold. And exhale, round the back, empty, empty, empty. Draw the navel in as tight as you can. And then neutralize the spine as you breathe in. And we'll find downward facing dog on the breath out. So taking your hips up to the sky. Just a nice little warm up. Call this triangle pose and down dog. Feel free to pedal your feet and really move into your body here. Wiggle your hips a little side to side. Shake out your head if you'd like. And then slide the feet together. Inhale, your right leg floats up. And as you exhale, step or help your right foot up between your hands. Find the tips of your fingers, pull your chest forward, breathe in, look up. And then as you exhale, pull the legs long, back heel high, right leg soft through the knee, but still lengthening it out, that right leg. And then inhale, bend the right knee, lift the heart, lift the head, lift the eyes. And then exhale, lift the hips, fold over that right leg, relax your neck. One more time like that, breathe in. And breathe out. And then breathe in, bend into the knee. And downward facing dog as you exhale. Take your left leg to the sky, breathe in. And step the left foot forward as you breathe out. Just make sure the knee is over the ankle. Find the tips of your fingers so you have lots of space. Inhale, soften hips, open your heart. And then exhale, pour the body over left leg. Lift your right heel high. Two more times. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Breathe to the lunge. And exhale, downward facing dog. A couple of long, deep breaths. And then next time that you breathe out, bring your knees very gently to the mat. If it's possible, sit back on your heels in Virasana or rock pose. If not, you can sit with your legs crossed in front of you. That's all good, whatever you need to do. Virasana, though, is nice for digestion. Heels hit a little meridian point, so try not to let your heels flop open. See if you can angle them up towards your bum. Bring your hands onto your shoulders, fingers face forward, thumbs point back. As you inhale, turn to the left. As you exhale, turn to your right. So once you've got that, looking over each shoulder so your neck turns as well. Close the eyes to take any dizziness out of it. Try to get that powerful breath going again, nice invigorating breath. Last 10 seconds. Elbows stay up in line with the shoulders. Inhale, center, elbows stay up, eyes stay closed, suspend the breath. And then exhale, bring the hands back down in front of you, downward facing dog. Just let that energy flush into the legs. Try to remain still for a couple of breaths. And then gently release the knees back down onto the ground. And we'll come into easy pose, Sukhasana again, so legs crossed in front of you. And we'll start our Kriya So suggest sitting up on something if that helps to elevate the hips and make the knees feel safe in your seated posture. Great thing about this Kriya too is that you can do it sitting in a chair. And kind of, discourage sitting on a bed or a couch, as you may feel like you want to start to get a little too comfortable after a while. But even against a wall, if you're sitting on the floor, you're welcome to that as well. Just whatever you need to do to be in the experience. So our first posture in the Kriya, we bring our left hand over the heart. So left hand over the heart. The right hand comes in front of you, so it's angled as though you're cupping something or you're holding something in the right hand. And this is such a beautiful, symbolic, moving meditation. Because if you've ever been to India, one of the traditions when there is loss and grief is to go to the water, specifically the Ganges, the great river, the mother river, and they'll take their hand and they'll splash water over their shoulders. And it's said to be a gesture of, washing, like the sacred waters, washing away any grief, any sadness, any residual pain that they may be feeling. And so you can relate to this movement, if you like, in that way as well. Just imagining that as you make the movement, you want your elbow to come right up, so it's like you're splashing the water behind your back, okay? And then you give a little flick of your wrist. So every time you exhale, the hand goes up. Okay, so with this one as well, we're meant to gaze at the tip of the nose, so the eyes are open, and it makes you go cross-eyed. I don't particularly practice that because I don't particularly want to be cross-eyed, and it doesn't feel good for my brain or my eyes. So what you can do is imagine that you're gazing at the tip of your nose, but look at the ground with both eyes, find an unmoving point. So the gaze is kind of moving down to the earth in front of you, locked into an unmoving point, okay? So left hand over the heart, right hand like you're holding some water. You breathe in like this, eyes are gazing down, and then you breathe out to splash the water over your shoulder. So it's an inhale and an exhale, okay? You continue rhythm of your own breath. If you feel like you have lots to work with and wash away, feel free to make that breath a little faster. But it's not about speed, it's about that intention of release and clearing and soothing with those energetic sacred waters. And if you feel like the eyes start to go into a little bit of a trance state, let it happen, because that's ultimately what that gaze is meant to do, is pull you out of the mind and give you that sacred trance-like connection to the movement. Try to keep the movement really uniform. So if you've chosen slow, you stay slow. If you've chosen a little faster, you stay in that rhythmic pattern for the entire time. So loss, however it presents itself, maybe through the loss of someone that we love, or a physical body, or perhaps a way of life or a relationship. It really doesn't matter how it shows up, or even really when it creates either a little small t trauma or big T trauma potentially. If we aren't given the space or time or tools or resources to work with that grief and with that loss. North American culture, we often aren't given nearly enough time to grieve, especially, a relationship or a job. It's quick to move on, get over it. So really working at clearing out any of that residual stress, any of that deep-seated, anger or resentment or sadness or grief that the heart might be holding, that might affect the energetic body. Notice if your eyes want to start darting around or looking around or to see what I'm doing or what's happening around you. Try to get into that state of trance-like focus. Sometimes the focus can be one of the hardest hit areas of the brain, of the mind, when we do go through loss, right? We start to reel a lot of memories, a lot of thinking, analyzing, intellectualizing. So we're helping to really recalibrate the mind as well as the heart and the energy. Remember, it's like a gaze towards the tip of your nose. Eyes stay open. You keep going. And doing it with rhythm and devotion. You'll notice as you find that rhythm becomes very relaxing. Moving meditation. Remember to really get the elbow up and splash that water back. That metaphorical cleansing or discarding of the past. Like you're throwing away that which no longer serves you. Eyes are still focused. You should be able to see your nose in that inner peripheral vision, right? The outline of the nose. You're almost there. Last 2 minutes, a little less than 2 minutes. Keep going. Okay, last flick, hold your elbow back, up I should say, reach back as far as you can behind you, hand stays in the heart, eyes stay open, take a deep breath in, suspend the breath, hold it at the top, hold the position, exhale deeply, do that again, inhale, stretch that right arm back, stretch, 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 breathe in a little bit more, hold the breath. Exhale, hold the position. One more time. Inhale, still gazing like at the tip of your nose. Breathe in, fill right up, suspend, let everything integrate and consolidate. And then exhale, relax hands onto thighs, close your eyes. Long, deep breaths. Let's take some time. Notice who or what you're sitting with. And then opening the eyes, we'll come into the next posture. So the posture is that we keep our elbows quite close to the ribs, almost like you're tucking them in. So if you see without the shawl, the elbows are really kind of tucked into that bottom 2 ribs, which is what you're going for. Arms aren't all the way out to the side, but rather just a little more angled out than your elbow is. And then you join the tip of your thumb to the nail bed of your middle finger. So the posture would kind of look like this, okay? In this posture, once again, your eyes are focused at the tip of your nose, and you're pulling in a chant. And every time you chant this bija mantra, har, H-A-R, but it kind of comes out like H-A-D because of the way that your tongue flicks the top of your mouth. And we're doing that really purposefully. It's hitting 34, 35, and 36 point meridian of the 72 at the roof of your mouth. And this affects the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, and it claims to change the gray matter in your brain. So it's a really powerful mantra, but it's also the mantra for creative consciousness, or that kind of infinite consciousness that we're doing this work for. So while you're chanting har, which sounds like har, kind of like flick your tongue at the top of the mouth, you also flick your middle finger out, which I love, because first of all, it's your middle finger. So how classic is that? You get to just shoot the middle finger out. This is also called Shuni Mudra. And so every time you chant had, you flick it out. So be had, 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 had. Right? So we'll just flick it out every time we chant. At the end, just so you know, there's what's called a cannon breath. So when we hold the breath in, afterwards you blow it out really forcefully through an open mouth. So it'll be, that's your cannon breath. Okay? So that's what we're doing at the end. So if you need to, you can change the cross of your legs or give your legs a little shake out before you come back into that comfortable seated position, or so-called comfortable seated position. Tuck the elbows into those base ribs and then take the arms out just a little bit wider, right? So they're not right in front of you, they're out a little bit wider. Connect thumb to middle finger nail bed, okay? Find your gaze. So for me, I was looking at this point between my rug and the floor in front of it. So I was looking at the edge, and that way I could see the outline or a little bit of shadow of my nose. So I know that I'm in that inner gaze down towards the ground. Try not to let your head drop down or your spine round, right? So it's still sitting up. It's just a gentle little tuck in of your chin and back so that you can find that point on the ground, okay? And we'll do it together. And feel free, if you lose the pattern, just to go on your own. I'll eventually make it a little quieter on my end so you can find your own rhythm, because that's really what it's all about. So we find our gaze, and then every time we flick the finger, we say ha. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, 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 ha. Keep going. Continue with the chant. This is the meditation that's meant to start to open up all the chakras. Cha, ha, 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 hard, 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 hard. This is a mudra, Shuni mudra for patience. It's a pretty profound messaging to the body, right? It knows how to heal and when, and ultimately does it in its own time. A little signal to the mind to be patient with ourselves while we clear the tension and the residual stress. Ha, 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 ha. Really flicking those middle fingers. Ha, 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 ha. Sometimes in life, those moments where we feel like we want to flick the middle finger and we can't, right? Either that literally, figuratively, on a single level, on an individual level, or on the collective level. It creates a lot of tension in the muscles, in the throat, in the heart. We can't express our frustration or our anger. Ha, 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 ha. Already halfway there. Ha, 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 ha. Make sure you're chanting like you mean it. Dedicate your consciousness right now to that bija mantra. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, 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 ha. Make sure the elbows are still hugging into the ribs, so you're not moving your hands away from the body. Ha, ha. Meridian points there as well. We're stimulating every time we flick the fingers. Ha, 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 ha. Very specifically, liver meridian points. Ha, ha, ha. Had, 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 had. The last posture said to really stimulate and support the kidneys and the adrenal healing. Now we're moving into the liver, and these are some of the organs and glands that really take the brunt of that stress in the body. They work overtime, extra hard, to clear, and that's the stress of our day, emotional stress, physical stress like toxins, right, through certain foods potentially that we might be sensitive to, through alcohol, hot, 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 hot. Sometimes we forget that just the simple act of eating can put stress on the body. What we consume, right, through the television or the music or the radio or just our eyes, what we can see around us. Hot, 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 hot. You're almost there. Hot, hot. Keep going. Hot, 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 hot. Keep going. Really chant like you mean it. Hot, 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 hot. Last 2 minutes. Hot, 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 hot. Still sitting up nice and tall. Hot, 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 hot. Last minute. Hot, 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 hot. Keep flicking the fingers as though you're chanting. Take a deep breath in. Suspend the breath. Keep flicking your fingers. Hold your breath in. And remember, your exhale, not yet, your exhale is a cannon breath, so through O-shaped lifts. Good, inhale again. Hold the breath, keep flicking your fingers. Try to maintain the rhythm. Keep holding the breath. And O-shaped lips. One more time. Suspend. Close the eyes, hands on thighs, long, deep breaths. Notice what needs to be noticed. All right, open the eyes if you need to. Shake your legs out a little bit. Get some blood and energy back in there. We have one last posture we're gonna do. So if you need to sit up a little higher, if the knees are getting a bit sore, feel free to grab something else to sit on. Find that height so you feel comfortable. We're going to integrate a lot of what we've already done into this final posture. So first of all, you're going to be chanting Har again, that bija mantra for infinity or creative consciousness. We're going to gaze down through the tip of the nose. This is stimulating again the pituitary gland, hypothalamus. This helps to regulate and our hormones and create emotional intelligence and balance and recognition through the body. And this time as we chant, we're going to keep the arms up in line with the shoulders, palms facing down. And then as you bring your hands to cross over, you chant Ha. And then you open it up. And then you bring the other arm on top, Ha. Okay, and it doesn't have to be fast, but the arms stay level to the shoulders, and it's Har, 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 Har. Okay, so start to bring the arms up. They're about 60 degrees, not all the way out to the side, about 60 degrees. Find that gaze one last time on the ground. This is your last posture. Sit up nice and tall. Focus the eyes, and I'll help you to begin. Har, 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 Har. Every time that you go back open, make sure you get to that 60-degree shape, that little V. Like you're shooting love from your heart out through your fingertips. This is very powerfully cleaning and clearing the magnetic field of the heart. Har, 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 Har. Make sure that you stay seated nice and tall through the spine, so this movement really comes from the shoulders. And keep the arms really straight, so don't let your elbows bend to keep that energy line from fingers to heart. Har, 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 Har. If you feel like this gaze is starting to give you a little bit of a headache, sometimes that happens when we first work with it, or we work for it for with a long period of time. You can just balance it by closing the eyes and intending that inner gaze at the same spot. Har, Har, and then reopen and practice like that if you need to. Har, 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 Har. Find your rhythm. Har, 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 Har. To really build that inner strength, inner endurance capacity, right? So we can withstand pressure and stress a little bit more. by clearing out through this type of movement and mantra all of those limiting beliefs, those samskaras, those conscious thought patterns or unconscious thought waves that can keep us stuck in fear, in stress, even very possible to be addicted to your stress. Right? So recognize that as well. Right? Who do you become when those stories are allowed to be washed away? Creating new grooves where you believe in yourself, there's self-love, compassion, hard, 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 hard. You're halfway there. So you can do it. Hard, hard. Try to keep the arms up in line with the shoulders, so don't get closer to the ground, right? Arms stay up. 60 degrees, and you alternate the crossover. Hard, 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 hard. Eyes stay focused, tip of the nose, or at least you can see it in that soft shadow. Hard, 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 hard. Last posture, so you can do it. Hard, 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 hard. Creating that little bit of very intentional tension, right? So that reminds us, especially if we're on more on that spectrum of being addicted to our tension, once we end, we remind the body-mind entity, right? Spirit, what it feels like to soften and relax. And then we recalibrate to that through deep, profound rest in Shavasana. So this is very purposeful. Ha, 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 ha. Yogi Bhajan believed that where you feel the stress, keep the arms straight, or any challenge in the posture, those are the weak pockets where you're storing that tension, where you're storing those muscle memories or issues in the tissues. Right? So we start to feel it and we want to stop, but rather instead, this is right where the work needs to happen. Hard, hard, hard. You're so close. Hard, 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 hard. Don't believe your mind. Hard, 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 hard. Don't believe the thoughts. Stay with the mantra. Sing it more powerfully, stronger if you need to. But stay in the movement. Keep the rhythm. Ha, 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 ha. Last 2 minutes. Ha, ha, ha. You're almost there. Ha, 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 ha. Keep the eyes focused. A little bit down, tip of the nose. Ha, ha. Last minute. Ha, 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 ha. Keep going, you're almost there. Ha, 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 ha. Keep the arms crossing, just like you're doing now. Inhale deeply. Arms stay crossing. Hold your breath. Same as before. The exhale, cannon breath. Keep the arms crossing. Inhale. Hold. See if you can fill up a little bit more. Cannon breath. One more time. Suspend. Cannon breath. Rest the hands on your thighs. Close your eyes. Long, deep breaths. Stay in your body. And the reward for all that hard work, we'll move into Shavasana. So go ahead and lay your body down, stretch your legs out nice and long on the ground, really take up lots of space. And close your eyes, turn your palms up, started to really generate your own healing energy. So Shavasana giving us the space and the time to integrate all the hard work that you've done. And release any conceptions of that you're not hard at work here. The body is inside of itself. So all it takes, 33 minutes. The first posture, supporting our glandular system and our liver, kidneys, organs. Relaxing, right? The second posture, really balancing the chakras. So working with that energy body. Third posture, helping us to balance the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. So give yourself permission to relax. Whether we encounter those little T traumas or the big T traumas, no matter what type of loss or stress or tension, without the tools and the practices, the possibility of moving that energy, certain parts of the brain or the body might start to freeze. And store the tension and create pain, numbness, and repetitive thought patterns. And so our Kriya today are all about melting the tension, unlocking, unfreezing those parts, body, mind. And bringing everything back online. Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. And when it feels good and right, bring some movement to your fingers and your toes, your ankles and your wrists. Keep breathing your breath. Maybe stretch the arms back behind you. And then hug the knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a great big hug for that hard work. It's not easy. And then rub the soles of your feet off the floor and your hands together as vigorously as you can. Really stimulating all the thousands of nerve endings. And then hug the knees back into the chest, and you can either rock and roll or just turn to your side and come back up to sit. We'll bring our hands into prayer pose at the heart and close the eyes back down. And we'll enjoy just a moment here of imagining nice white or golden light showering down from the crown of your head over your body. And just feel that light connecting to the space around you, front, back, and sides. And allow that light to stay in that bubble around you, but also start to slowly penetrate through the skin to the inside. And just reminding you that not only are you a being of light, but you're surrounded by light anytime you need. And in great honor and pleasure of sharing this practice, I offer a Satnam.